May 8, 1984, Kensington Palace, 2:17 a.m. Princess Diana stood frozen outside Charles's study, listening to a phone conversation that would shatter her understanding of her marriage forever. For 3 years, she had wondered why her husband seemed emotionally distant, why he consulted his mother on every decision, why he spoke to the Queen daily, but could barely hold a conversation with his wife. Now, as she heard Charles whispering into the phone like a child seeking comfort, Diana realized the devastating truth. She wasn't married to a man. She was married to a 35-year-old boy who had never emotionally separated from his mother. What Diana heard next would explain everything about their failed marriage and change how she saw the royal family forever. But the most shocking discovery wasn't about Charles's dependence on his mother. It was about what the Queen had been doing to ensure Diana could never compete with her for Charles's affection. The midnight phone calls. May 8, 1984, 2:15 a.m. The discovery. Diana had woken up to find Charles's side of the bed empty again. This had become a pattern over the past year. Charles disappearing in the middle of the night, claiming he couldn't sleep and needed to work or think. Following the sound of his voice, Diana crept downstairs to his private study. The door was slightly open, and she could hear Charles speaking in hushed tones on the telephone. "Mummy, I don't know what to do," Charles was saying, his voice small and childlike. "Diana's becoming more difficult. She doesn't understand how things work." Diana's blood ran cold. He was talking to the Queen about their marriage at 2 a.m. like a child running to his mother with his problems. "She keeps questioning my decisions about the household staff," Charles continued. "She wants to change everything. She doesn't respect tradition." Diana heard a pause as the Queen responded. "I know you told me she was too young, but I thought I could guide her. But she's so stubborn, Mummy. She won't listen to me." Another pause. "What should I do? Should I be firmer with her? Should I?" Charles was asking his mother for permission to threaten his own wife. "Yes, Mummy, you're right. I need to remember that I'm the Prince of Wales, and she's just Diana." The conversation continued for another 20 minutes, with Charles seeking his mother's approval for every aspect of his marriage, from Diana's public appearances to their bedroom arrangements. When Diana finally crept back upstairs, she realized that she had never been in a marriage. She had been in a triangle with a mother and son, and she was the intruder. But this was only the beginning of Diana's horrifying discoveries. The morning ritual. May 8, 1984, 8:30 a.m. The daily check-in. The next morning, Diana watched Charles's behavior with new understanding. Every day began the same way. Charles called his mother before he spoke to his wife. "Good morning, Mummy," Charles said into the phone while Diana sat across from him at breakfast. "Did you sleep well? What are your plans for today?" He spoke to the Queen for 15 minutes about her schedule, her concerns, her opinions on current events. Then he hung up and barely acknowledged Diana's presence. "Charles," Diana said carefully, "don't you think it's strange that you speak to your mother every morning before you speak to me?" Charles looked genuinely confused. "Strange? She's the Queen, Diana, and she's my mother. Of course I check on her. But I'm your wife. Shouldn't your wife come first?" "You don't understand, Diana. My relationship with my mother is special. She's guided me through everything. She knows me better than anyone. Better than your wife knows you." "Yes," Charles said without hesitation. "Much better." Diana realized that in Charles's mind, his mother wasn't just the Queen. She was the most important woman in his life, and Diana was just a temporary addition to their eternal bond. Don't miss this shocking revelation. What Diana found in Charles's private papers, the secret correspondence. May 15, 1984, the letters that revealed everything. A week after the phone call discovery, Diana decided to investigate further. While Charles was at an official engagement, she searched his private study for evidence of his unusual relationship with his mother. What she found was more disturbing than she had imagined. In Charles's desk drawer, Diana discovered hundreds of letters between Charles and the Queen, dating back to his childhood and continuing through their marriage. The letters revealed a psychological dependency that went far beyond normal mother-son affection. From Charles to the Queen, dated just 2 weeks after his wedding to Diana. "Dearest Mummy, Diana is having trouble adjusting to royal life. She cries frequently and seems overwhelmed by her duties. I find myself wishing I were back at Balmoral with you, where everything was simple and peaceful. Sometimes I think I made a mistake marrying someone so young and emotional. You always understand me perfectly, while Diana seems to misinterpret everything I say. Please tell me what to do. I trust your judgment more than anyone's. Your devoted son, Charles." The Queen's response was even more revealing. "My darling Charles, you must remember that marriage is a duty, not a romance. Diana is performing her role by producing heirs. Beyond that, you should not expect too much emotional satisfaction from her. Our relationship, mother and son, is eternal and sacred. Wives come and go, but a mother's love is forever. Do not let Diana interfere with our bond. She is an outsider who cannot understand the special connection between us. Your loving Mummy. Diana read letter after letter, each one revealing how the Queen actively discouraged Charles from developing emotional intimacy with his wife, while reinforcing his psychological dependence on her. But the most shocking letters were from Charles's adult years, the adult dependency, letters from 1983 to 1984, the emotional infantilization. Diana discovered that Charles's dependence on his mother had intensified, not decreased, since their marriage. The letters revealed a grown man who couldn't make basic decisions without his mother's approval. From Charles to the Queen, March 1983. Mummy, Diana wants to redecorate our bedroom. She says the current decor is too formal and cold. Should I allow this? I don't want to upset the palace traditions, but she becomes very emotional when I refuse her requests. Please advise, Charles. From the Queen's response, Charles, do not allow Diana to change anything without my approval. She is trying to establish her territory and diminish your connection to family traditions. The bedroom should remain as it is. It represents continuity with your heritage and your bond with me. Stand firm. Do not let her emotional manipulations weaken your resolve. Mummy, Diana read letter after letter documenting Charles seeking his mother's permission for every marital decision, whether to have another child, what charities Diana could support, how often they should appear together publicly, whether Diana could travel without him, what friends Diana was allowed to have. Each time, the Queen's response reinforced Charles's dependence, while positioning Diana as a threat to their special bond. But the most devastating discovery was yet to come, the bedroom revelation, May 20th, 1984. The ultimate betrayal. Diana's most horrifying discovery came when she found a letter from Charles to his mother, describing their intimate life. Dearest Mummy, Diana has been pressuring me to be more affectionate. She says she feels unloved and wants more physical intimacy. But I find myself thinking of our conversations and your guidance, even during our most private moments. Sometimes I wish I could just talk to you instead of dealing with her emotional needs. Is it normal for a husband to prefer his mother's company to his wife's? Diana makes me feel inadequate, while you make me feel understood and valued. Your confused son, Charles. The Queen's response was chilling. My darling Charles, it is completely normal for you to find more comfort in our relationship than in your marriage. I have known you since birth and understand your true nature. Diana is a stranger who is trying to change you into someone you're not. Remember that your primary duty is to the crown and to me. Diana's role is to produce heirs. Beyond that, you owe her nothing emotionally. Our bond is sacred and eternal. Do not let her guilt or tears make you forget that. Your devoted Mummy. Diana realized that the Queen was actively sabotaging her marriage by encouraging Charles to see his wife as an emotional burden, and his mother as his true companion. You won't believe what Diana discovered about the Queen's manipulation tactics. The mother's manipulation. 1984, the systematic destruction of the marriage. Further investigation revealed that the Queen had been systematically undermining Diana's marriage from the very beginning, through psychological manipulation of Charles. Diana found a file in the Queen's handwriting titled Managing Charles's Marriage. It contained detailed strategies for maintaining Charles's primary loyalty to his mother. Strategy 1. Daily contact. Charles must speak to me every morning before interacting with Diana. This establishes the hierarchy of relationships. Strategy 2. Decision approval. Charles must consult me on all major decisions, including those involving Diana. This reinforces my role as his primary advisor. Strategy 3. Emotional refuge. When Charles has problems with Diana, he must come to me for comfort and guidance. This positions Diana as the problem and me as the solution. Strategy 4. Tradition emphasis. Constantly remind Charles that his duty to the crown, represented by me, supersedes his duty to his wife. Strategy 5. Isolation tactics. Discourage Charles from developing emotional independence or seeking advice from anyone except me. The file contained detailed notes on how to respond to various scenarios. If Diana complains about feeling neglected, remind Charles that wives should be grateful for the privilege of royal marriage, not demanding of attention. If Diana questions royal protocols, emphasize that Diana is an outsider who doesn't understand traditions that Charles and I share. If Diana tries to modernize royal practices, frame this as disrespect for everything Charles represents and values. Diana realized that every problem in her marriage had been deliberately engineered by a mother who refused to let her son grow up. Don't miss this devastating confrontation. What happened when Diana confronted Charles? The confrontation. May 25, 1984, 10:30 p.m. Diana demands the truth. Armed with evidence of Charles's pathological dependence on his mother, Diana decided to confront her husband directly. "Charles," she said as he prepared for his nightly phone call to the Queen, "we need to talk about your relationship with your mother." Charles looked defensive immediately. "What about it? You call her every morning and every night. You ask her permission for decisions about our marriage. You discuss our private life with her. This isn't normal, Charles." "Normal?" Charles's voice rose. "She's the Queen. She's my mother. Of course I value her guidance, but I'm your wife. I should be your primary relationship now, not her." Charles stared at Diana as if she had suggested something blasphemous. "You want me to choose between you and my mother? I want you to be a husband instead of a little boy. How dare you?" Charles exploded. "My mother has loved me unconditionally my entire life. She understands me, supports me, guides me. You just criticize and complain and make demands because I'm trying to have a real marriage with you. But you're already married to your mother." Charles's face went white with rage. "Leave my mother out of this. She's already in this. She's in our bedroom, our decisions, our entire relationship. I'm not your wife, Charles. I'm just the woman your mother allows you to live with. That's enough." Charles grabbed the phone. "I'm calling my mother right now to tell her how you've spoken about her." Diana watched in horror as her 35-year-old husband called his mother to tattle on his wife like a child reporting to the principal. But Diana had one more devastating revelation to share: the Camilla connection. June 1st, 1984. The truth about the affair. Diana's final discovery explained why Charles had turned to Camilla Parker Bowles, despite his dependence on his mother. She found a letter from the Queen to Charles that revealed the royal family's role in encouraging the affair. "My darling Charles, I understand your frustration with Diana's emotional demands. I have spoken with Camilla, and she is willing to provide you with the companionship you need, without interfering with your primary loyalty to me. Camilla understands her place. She will never try to replace me in your affections, as Diana seems determined to do. She is content to be your private comfort while I remain your ultimate confidant and advisor. This arrangement will allow you to have adult companionship without the emotional complications Diana creates, your wise mummy." Diana realized that the Queen had actually arranged Charles's affair because Camilla posed no threat to the mother-son bond, while Diana's demands for emotional intimacy did. Camilla was the perfect mistress for a man with a mother complex. She asked for nothing, expected nothing, and threatened no one's position. The revelation: Diana understood that her marriage had never stood a chance. She wasn't competing with just Camilla for Charles's affection. She was competing with a mother who had psychologically crippled her son to maintain control over him. Charles wasn't having an affair because he didn't love Diana. He was having an affair because he was emotionally incapable of loving anyone more than he loved his mother. And the Queen preferred a mistress who knew her place to a wife who demanded her husband's primary loyalty. The aftermath. Understanding Charles's mother complex changed everything for Diana. She stopped trying to win her husband's love and started planning her escape from a psychological prison disguised as a marriage. She also began documenting the royal family's manipulation tactics, recognizing that Charles was as much a victim of his mother's control as she was. Most importantly, Diana decided that her sons would never suffer the same psychological damage. She would raise William and Harry to be emotionally independent men, not dependent boys seeking maternal approval. The truth revealed. Charles's mother complex explains everything about his marriage to Diana and his relationship with Camilla. He wasn't a man choosing between two women. He was a boy whose mother had engineered his romantic life to preserve her own dominance. The Queen's manipulation of Charles represents one of the most sophisticated psychological control systems in modern royal history. By keeping her son emotionally dependent, she ensured that no wife could ever threaten her position as the most important woman in his life. Diana's discovery of this truth was both liberating and devastating. Liberating because it proved that her marriage's failure wasn't her fault. Devastating because it meant she had been fighting an unwinnable battle against a mother who would never let her son grow up. Sometimes the greatest tragedy isn't a failed marriage. It's discovering that the marriage was designed to fail from the beginning. The lasting impact. Charles's psychological dependence on his mother continued throughout Diana's life and beyond. Even after Diana's death, Charles consulted the Queen on his relationship with Camilla, his parenting decisions, and his public role. The pattern only broke when the Queen died in 2022. For the first time in his 73 years, Charles was forced to make decisions without his mother's guidance. Diana's sons, raised with awareness of their father's psychological limitations, chose different paths. Both William and Harry prioritized their marriages over royal expectations, protecting their wives from the manipulation that destroyed their mother. Diana's greatest victory wasn't escaping her marriage. It was ensuring that the cycle of psychological control ended with her generation. Some prisons are made of gold and tradition. The strongest bars are often psychological, and the most dangerous jailers are sometimes the people who claim to love us most.